What's up, Wanna Coffee fam? It's Kai, and we are back, kicking off season 2, and things have slightly changed for us. We will have weekly contributions from strangers all over the world discussing various topics chosen by yours truly. And this is the first time these contributors have spoken to one another, so you are in for a real treat. Without further ado, here's Chris and Ethan with Freedom and Regulation.
Now. Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan Nguyen, and I'm here with
Christian Taboda. What it do?
Yeah, I believe this week we will be talking about the topic of freedom versus regulation. Christian, I'll ask first if there's anything that just totally pops up to the top of your mind when that subject comes up.
Great question. Freedom versus regulation. Um, I honestly, the parental advisory, like little stickers on CD, first thing that comes to mind. I
Right.
remember seeing those when I was little. I'm like, oh my god, I'm badass.
I think I saw like a mini docu or something about that recently about how that came to be, because we didn't always have parental ratings for music, media, movies, games, especially video games. And it's very interesting. A lot of it always comes from the very religiously devout community that gets up in arms about certain things, right?
Yep.
And so there's that compromise of, rather than allowing them to get as far as banning all of the things that they don't like just because they're not devout or whatever, or conservative or uptight is the word I like to use, then we're like, okay, what we'll do is we'll give everything ratings and parental advisories, and then et cetera, et cetera. Because we still have to allow people to sort of consume these things.
Right. We can't tell people that they have to do this. We can only strongly suggest and strongly enforce.
Strongly inform, except that's a good thing, crazy thing too, the idea of getting the public informed about certain things. For instance, I mean, the big one right now is like vaccines, anti-vaxxers, and the idea of like you can't force people to get vaccines, but then maybe, I don't know, maybe private institutions or businesses or whatnot, or entities might be able to or require it or whatnot. But can you really do that? Medical laws, etc. But I think, a good question is whether you or I, how would we even feel about, let's say, our government was like, you know what, you have to get the COVID vax by law. How would you feel about that?
Okay, 100%. I'm 100% okay with that. Like, okay, give it to me. Like, going into the school system, I knew I had to get shots, so, or like, even if I didn't realize it back then, I know now, oh yeah, before you send your kid into school, you got to get some shots. And that is kind of like, duh, it makes sense. We don't want to get what was before. Now I think the government's telling me, okay, you're going to get a shot for the new flu, the new COVID. I'm like, okay, cool. I got that. And then later on, I know that probably not everybody will have to receive it. It'll just be like a regular flu shot. But right now, yeah, I have no problem with that.
So here's the thing too. Like, so yes, personally, absolutely, I agree. I feel like it's such no brainer. Like,
Right.
people are dying. It's a
Correct.
global pandemic. This is not like a cold happening around. People around the world have died, are dying, continue to. Um, so yeah, it's one of those things. It's pretty easy for me to just say, yes, just get vaxxed. And if the fact that we even have to have a conversation about making it a legal
Wait, have you
requirement.
been vaccinated?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, got that sweet, sweet Pfizer.
As did I, although they're all the same. Everybody should get shots no matter what. I don't care
No,
about.
no,
Yeah.
no. I've got that sweet, sweet 5G running through my head right now. The dulcet and mellifluous tones of Bill Gates' voice just whispering through my head, advertising Microsoft products.
Is that what that was? Is that what
Yes,
that
that
is?
was yes.
I'm feeling
Speaking
those.
of, have you checked out the new Dell? Have the new Microsoft Surface?
No, no.
Oh wait, did that come out of nowhere? No, that's
Well,
no. Anyways, um, but you bring up the subject of, right, like, first of all, yeah, we require that in public schools, right? You got to get
That's the first thing I think of. Got to take
the mumps and Jesus,
measles.
I mean,
No, I know. As I
MMR,
was thinking, I was like, you have to get those. I'm like, what the fuck are they called?
the MMR, right?
MMR. Yeah.
And we don't even think about it. But here's the thing, too. I think I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that if you don't attend public school, like if you're homeschooled, I don't think there is a legal requirement that a kid has to have the MMR.
I know that there was like an MMR outbreak in Disneyland as of late because there are so many anti-vaxxers
Yeah,
who had it spread it. So I know it's not like they can tell you can't enter this public space if you don't have the shot.
right.
So, yeah, wow.
So I only bring that up because I believe that there is no wide consuming general legal requirement for every American citizen to have MMR. I believe it is the case that if you attend public, private, or public school like K through 12 in America, that you do have to get it. You have to show proof of it from a doctor, right?
Correct.
But I believe if you're homeschooled or whatnot, or if you've attended maybe certain private schools, I think that there is no legal requirement. So I bring that up because it's like there's always been that loophole, right? And I think it's only been very recent that those loophole people have expanded to the point where they're now a danger to society. Like for instance, the Disney MMR outbreak that you're mentioning, right?
Yeah.
So it's that of like, is there moral, ethical, like whatever's of like saying as a country you all have to take a shot? Because let's say Christian, let's say at some point there is some new vaccine, whatever, or shot. Let's not even just say a vaccine. Let's say because we allow it for this one vaccine shot, everybody has to take it legally. Now there's precedent for them to say, oh well, we can do this for some other shot. Now that's paranoid and like conspiratorial thinking, but that's kind of one of the main sticking points of like anti-vaxxers in that community.
But if it's not this, then where's it going to go next?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't have those paranoid suspicions, and I understand that I'm blessed and I live in a coastal city where I get to flounce my way around and not really feel this sense of burden that maybe other people might feel with the government looming. But they're telling me to take a shot. I'm going to take a shot. What's the next shot going to be? I mean, this one makes sense. I feel like then we'll cross that bridge when it gets there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I absolutely agree with you. I'm very much of the mind of like, you can't be so afraid of like this general policy change that you can't face the bridge that's happening right now. There's a surging river, there's a bridge right now. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to cross this bridge because there might be another river. So what's the point? It's like,
correct.
Well, yeah, but you won't know that unless you actually cross the freaking bridge. Yeah, I mean, but
Amazing Race. How are we gonna get to the next episode unless people can finish? Gotta finish the challenge, guys.
Exactly. But I'm not doing this to be like devil's advocate or anything, but the topic is like freedom versus regulation. In America, especially, this is such I think a fraught conversation. It's not just about vaccines, it's about things like gun control and like gun control is probably the big one, right? Voting rights, etc., civil rights, things like that. Like, what if it's the idea of like, I'm good with the policy and I enforce it and I support it, like getting everybody vaxxed, possibly even like getting people, like forcing people to vax. But let's say you put the vaccine syringe or whatever in my hand and said, well, then you are part of the community that now has to go around injecting people who don't want it. Like,
and administering it. I'm not oh my gosh.
Well, I'm making this a very reductive point. Very reductive. I acknowledge that. Like I say, yeah, get everybody vaxxed, force them to get vaxxed. Like, it's the smart thing to do. But if someone like gave me a vaccine needle and said, I have to go to this anti-vax community and go around stabbing people against their will. Like, that's a very reductive, unrealistic example of what I'm talking about. But the topic is freedom versus regulation, right? In that scenario, I would represent the regulation and what I believe in. But then there's that freedom of like, could I actually bring myself to forcefully inject people if they say no?
No. True.
Right.
True. I mean, I feel like, I guess the fact that we are in America, everybody has the option to decide and to choose their own well-being. Sure. I think for the majority, it would be happy for us. I think it would be better for us to maybe spread more information on what the vaccination does rather than just get it, get it, get it. Maybe the push and the focus should just be more on the information then, because I hear you.
Yeah.
I see exactly what you're saying, and I'm like, damn it, I could never force. I mean, I'm here living, my gay life. I can't force anybody to like me any more than I like them for being whoever they are. And now I'm like, oh wait, and now I'm telling you, you have to take. Okay, wow, ooh, I hear that. I hear that 100%.
Yeah, it's just an interesting it's a complicated thing to think about, in my opinion, because yes, I acknowledge that I want and I would support if we did that thing, but I'd be a hypocrite because then I acknowledge that if you told me to go around doing that physically to people, I couldn't, because it's also the idea of consent, right? It's like they want to be idiots and put other people in danger because they don't want to have vaccine. That's really dumb, and I want to criticize them for that. But at the same time, it's the act of forcing, I guess, your ideology onto someone else, which I think you and I certainly
We
can.
literally started with censoring and like how religious people were putting their ideologies.
Yeah, exactly. So right, I don't think we're particularly conservative or devout or certain anything of that nature, but it doesn't matter why we say we would force a certain something on someone, right? We get to that point, you do it, and it's the idea of regulation without consent compared to someone's actual freedom of things. So there's always the danger that you allow all this great freedom, but that it's a Pandora's box. You also have to allow all the idiots.
It exists, yeah. Oof. Get it, Ethan.
No, it's complicated, it's hard. It's one of those things where do you ever watch Firefly and Serenity?
No, I have not.
No big deal, no big deal. I just think of that. So
I know one is the movie ending of it.
correct.
Okay.
Maybe it's just better if I bring up the trope of, like, in certain sci-fi and fantasy series, there's this idea of like some authoritative power, right, in the pursuit of making everyone better, forcefully concoct some either brainwashing or forced servitude, or you get what I'm saying, like where they try to root out all the bad aspects of a person, right? You know, greed and violent and tendencies and things like that. And in doing so, they basically enslave people to be exactly the model that they want.
Right.
Right. And the trope is there's always that resistance against it, right? The resistance forces the good guys, etc.
Right. I'm staring at your Lego resistance background. I feel like they are the bad guys, really.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I didn't see the ceremony.
Troopers. Yeah.
I didn't see what they were actually doing.
Right. So it's the thing is, like, I have to acknowledge that, like, on one side, I want to just say these people are so dumb. They like should just be better and think about the health of the people around them and just be better people. But there's always that danger of taking that as an excuse to be oppressive.
Right. It's like when Superman turns evil, or like, yeah, this is essentially injustice too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see your storm in the background there. It's really nice.
Don't forget Batman.
Never ever. Is that the yellow Power Ranger?
Yes.
Like a chibi. This is so off rails of the conversation we're
I know.
having.
Yeah,
Easy
I
to read.
I apologize.
Um, gosh, yeah. And then, especially in America, there is again that such fraught discussions of like overregulation, deregulation, conservatives versus liberals, et cetera, et cetera. But I think you brought this up, that point up earlier, where it's like you have to tackle the things that come your way now. Um, please, people, just get vaxxed for the love of God.
Exactly.
Let's just get over
If
this
you
hump.
honestly think that the government is going to start pushing on us something else later, okay, let's see what they do later. Right now, I think what they're pushing on us is something that's more beneficial for the global population than just you and your little
Yeah.
neighbor.
It's just trying to maintain some common sense, bring some common sense back. It's like, is what I'm doing actually hurting people or trying to help people, etc. kind of things. We have so many other problems, like, and this is something we can actually fix.
Yes.
This is something we can actually fix, and but things right now are just way too gunpowdery in America.
I mean, we've literally been stuck in our homes all this time, pleasing ourselves, ordering food, masturbating or whatever the fuck we do when we're at home by ourselves all this time. And now when we're just trying to like open up, oh, the reason too is so we can all take the same shot. Oh my God, I totally see everybody up in arms. I hear your frustrations. I hear you wanting to voice your opinions. But right now, let's just listen to the data. Let's see what the vaccination's actually doing, and understand that it's making it better for the future, so we can go back to you having your little parades.
Preach, Christian, preach. But at the same time, how can you make people listen, much less even actually agree or understand the data and the information? Because we do push it out. We do. I mean, we had a whole
reads the data incorrectly, and then it's like they focus on numbers and stuff. It's like, look, we have different control. Like, there's so many aspects and layers to this data that you're looking at one part of the number, but you should really be looking at these three parts of the numbers, not just. And that's hard to explain to people, because then everybody thinks they're a doctor. Everybody thinks they're a data analyst. Everybody thinks they're right.
And because it's on the other side too, that previous administration, which was a shit show, and all the misinformation that they pushed out as actual data. People like you and me would definitely be like, well, that's incorrect data. I'm not gonna, because that's false. So then they take that same argument, now that it's this new administration, we're actually trying to push actual proper science and agenda, and people are like, no, I'm not going to believe any of that shit.
Media's fake news, fake, all that BS.
Yeah, it's not only do we have to be more a community more based on science, information, and proper data and common sense and whatnot. We have to get people to actually listen and like try and understand. How can we get there? Who knows? And
you got to create digestible data.
In memes, that's how it works these days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
TikTok. The next president should be a TikTok star.
Yes.
He'll capture our attention for as long as we need it.
Him and his dog and his ice cream.
That.
Christian, unfortunately, we are just about over 18 minutes, so I'm gonna pause and stop the recording now. But it's great to see you again, and great to talk about this. I don't think it's nothing easy solution here, but until next time, folks. Christian, you want to say anything?
Oh my gosh, I thank you so much. Thank you for letting us ramble on. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Bye, folks.
Well, that was a doozy. I don't know about you, but all that talk sort of really did my head in. And not really because of what the guys were saying, but I'm all for team freedom. Anyway, thanks, guys. Catch us next week for a brand new episode with brand new contributors. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at WannaCoffeePod. That's WannaCoffeePod. I'm your host, Kai, and let's want a coffee next week. Cheers. Oh my God, orange is not my new black.